Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce today's session moderator, Ms. Pooja Upadhyay. Ms. Pooja Upadhyay is a dedicated educational facilitator at Vibjir High, Yelhunka, Bangalore, where she is committed to fostering an engaging and supportive learning environment for her students. She holds a Bachelor of Commerce degree from Bangalore and is currently pursuing a Bachelor of Education at Bangalore City University to enhance her teaching methodologies and educational expertise. Since embarking on her professional journey, Ms. Upadhyay has shown a strong dedication to the field of education. Her innovative approach to teaching, coupled with her ability to connect with students on a personal level, has made her an integral part of her institution. Ms. Upadhyay is deeply committed to caring young children and believes in the transformative power of education. With her dedication and enthusiasm, she aims to make a lasting impact on her students' academic and personal growth, aspiring to create a brighter future for the next generation. Hearty welcome, Ms. Pooja. Please proceed. The stage is yours.
Okay, Ms. Pooja, you can start.
Yes, sir. Just 1 second. Thank you, Biju sir, for that warm and gracious introduction. Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to extend a sincere and cheerful welcome to all the educators and participants on behalf of Extra Mile Education and Training. Your presence this evening is a testament to your unwavering dedication to building a future-ready generation of learners. Extra Mile stands as a beacon of excellence in professional development, founded under the visionary leadership of Dr. Abdul Salam and the proud initiative of Bharat Transformer Academic Group. With a robust network of expert trainers, Extra Mile delivers customized training programs both online and offline across the length and breadth of our nation. I am truly honored to serve as your moderator for today's session, and I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Salam and the entire Extra Mile team for this opportunity. This session is based on a study conducted by OECD, Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It is most encouraging to see that the educational ambition of students have increased over the last 2 decades. This reflects the efforts by teachers and schools to help young people achieve their potential. However, the report shows that in some areas, little has changed and indeed things have got worse. Before we begin, a few important announcements. If you have any question during the session, please feel free to post them in the chat box. For a more interactive experience, you may also raise your virtual hand. Once your name is called, you can unmute yourself to ask your question. To receive your certificate of participation, kindly complete the feedback form that will be shared at the end of the session. We encourage you to stay with us until the conclusion. Before we proceed with the session, it is my privilege to introduce the key figures behind BTAG, beginning with visionary himself, Dr. Abdul Salam, a distinguished CBSE master trainer and resource person. Dr. Salam sir has made remarkable contributions to the field of education. He has served as an assessor for the National Accreditation Board for Education and Training (NABET) under the Government of India and is the founder and CEO both of Extra Mile Education and Training and the BTEC. On behalf of all of us gathered here today, I warmly welcome Dr. Salam to address the audience. Over to you, Salam sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Pooja. Good evening, everybody. Respected resource person, Ms. Amira, and respected Biju sir, all who have joined eagerly to listen to the resource person today. In fact, this is an inevitable topic and the session offered by Ms. Amira. Well, Ms. Pooja has already described the uh, intention of this session. This is based on the OECD report, and she has clearly said that the scenario, the situation has, changed, and it has become worse in terms of teenagers, youngsters looking for jobs, and their ambitions, aspirations are not met because of various reasons. So today we are going to see what are the reasons and how teachers, as career counselors, have to fulfill their responsibilities, to make the youngsters, the young generation, future ready citizen for the uh, job market, which will be available for them. Uh, in fact, a lot of changes have been happening in the job market. Lots of automations have been happening, and lot many traditional conventional jobs have already disappeared. And this is going to be a great challenge unless and until we step in forward and see the scenario, the existing and changing scenario, and equip our youngsters with the necessary skills and the knowledge and awareness of the job market, which they are going to encounter. So thank you so much for joining. Let's listen to the OECD report and the recommendations, uh, so that we can be in a better position to serve the young generation. So thank you so much, Amira ma'am, once again. Thank you, everybody. Over to the moderator, Pooja ma'am. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Salam sir, for your inspiring words and generous acknowledgement. We are equally honored to be joined by another stalwart in the field of education, Mr. Biju S. Pillai sir. He is a veteran educator and the esteemed principal of Sri Chitra Public School, Trivandrum. It's truly a privilege to have you with us, sir. I now invite you to share your reflections with our participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Pooja. Most respected Program Director, Dr. Abdul Salam, sir, today's resource person, Amira ma'am, and all other educators came in the platform of Extra Mile. So as usual, today's topic also plays a very important role. As an educator or a teacher, plays a very vital role, not only in imparting academic knowledge, but also in guiding students to make informed career choices. So when educators take the role of career counselors, or when teachers take the role of a career counselor, they should help to shape the future of students by analyzing their interest, abilities, and also inspiring them or encouraging them to reach to their goals. So as key educators, we have some roles like identifying the student's interest. It can be done in many ways, like observing them, assessments, interactions. These all will help us to know what is their actual interest, and accordingly we can guide them. So it plays a very vital role as we educators, and today we can come to know more about it from the most respected resource person, Amira ma'am. So let us have a wonderful evening and gain all the knowledge to share with us to our next generation. Thank you, Ms. Pooja.
Thank you, Biju sir, for your thoughtful and insightful address. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce our esteemed resource person for today's session, Ms. Amira Ansari. Ms. Amira Ansari is a seasoned educator with over 15 years of experience spanning polytechnic and engineering colleges. Currently serving as the head of computer science and PGT at SVKM CBSE School, Dhule. She has been a cornerstone of the institution for the past 7 years. She holds a master's degree in computer science, engineering, and Bachelor of Education, combining technical expertise with pedagogical insight. A certified QCI NABIT assessor, Ms. Ansari has been actively involved in leading school accreditation processes since 2019. Her passion for innovation is evident in her mentorship of students' projects involving microbit coding, one of which earned a recognition at National CBSE Skills Expo. She has also contributed to patent applications, underscoring her commitment to applied learning and creativity. As a school innovation ambassador and published researcher, she is deeply invested in advancing knowledge management in Indian schools. We are absolutely delighted to have you with us, ma'am. On behalf of everyone here, a warm and respectful welcome. We now invite you to take us forward with your insights. Over to you, Miss Ma'am.
Thank you, Pooja ma'am. A very warm greetings to all the educators out here. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this enlightening session on educators as career counselors. In today's fast evolving world, students are faced with an overwhelming number of career choices. Amid this complexity, educators who interact with students every single day are in a unique and powerful position to guide them, not just academically, but also in shaping their career paths. As a teacher, we are not only a subject expert or classroom manager, but also a mentor, a role model, and often the first point of trusted guidance for the students. And that's why this session is designed to empower you with the tools, knowledge, and mindset needed to step into the role of a career counselor, one who inspires clarity, purpose, and direction in young minds. So together, let's take a step towards creating a generation of students who are not only academically equipped, but also career ready and future focused. So before I proceed with my session, I would just like to share a small video with you all over here.
पर्दे करो किनारे जैसे बंदी है हवा में लेके छोड़ा आ जाओ पतंग लेके अपनी ही रंग लेके आसमां का शामियाना आज हमें सजाना क्यों इस कदर हैरान तो मौसम का है मेहमान वो दुनिया सजी तेरे लिए खुद को जरा पहचान तू है नदी।
So we all saw that the students over here are so excited that what they would become and looking into their future with the help of AI, they are so happy. And when we as teachers receive the students in our school or in our class, and we ask them, like, what would they become when they grow up? Don't you think sometimes one day they would say, I want to become a doctor, some other day, then they feel, okay, I would like to become an engineer. So, you know, these students are very young, you know, whoever, whatever professionals they see, they get inspired by them. And they think that, okay, this is any professional whom they meet in their day-to-day life, they get inspired, they become their ideal, and they think that they should become like that. But we as educators, we need to find out the hidden talent. You know, each child is unique and has a hidden talent. So we as educators can just give them some path, we can give them direction, and we can just bring out the potential in them, and we can help them to shape their future and choose the right career path. So today we are going to see about the study that is conducted by OECD. But before we proceed, I would like to ask you a few questions. What are the top career aspirations of today's teenagers around the world? So what do you think that in today's world, what would be the top career options for the students? So you all can raise your hands to answer the question, or you can post your answers in the chat box as well. So we are getting answers in the chat box. Sujata ma'am is saying print engineers. Then Rehana ma'am has written doctor. Again,
Yes, ma'am.
we have prompt engineer, nursing.
Nursing.
So these are these career options are quite trending today. Game developer, fashion designer,
IT,
physiotherapy
medicine.
and medicine, data analysis. Yeah, data analyst. This is the new career. Yeah, option today.
Software engineer.
Yeah. Then scientist, IT, AI. So these are the top career choices today. And you know, we need to even introduce these career choices to the students. So we have software developer, like app designer, YouTuber, digital influencer. These are also some upcoming career choices today. Space scientist or astronaut, entrepreneur, startup founder, environmental activist, AI robotics engineer, again fashion designer or creative AI artist. So these are few of the career aspirations that are in boom today. I would also like to ask you,
Maybe
like,
some
what?
Karan Bharat.
Hello. What careers were popular or considered safe when you were a teenager, and how have they evolved today? I would like you to share about your reflections on this. Like, what careers were popular or considered as safe when you were a teenager, and do you think they have evolved today? I would like you to raise your hands and answer. We are getting answers in the chat box also, like teacher, doctor, banking, lawyer, government employment. Yeah, of course. And most of them are saying teaching. Everyone feel that teaching is the safe career. Doctor, engineer, and teacher. Yeah, these are the very few career choices when we were the teenagers. We did not have so many options at that time, right? And these career choices have evolved today. Definitely, these have evolved today. So we are having certain career aspirations. Let us see then versus now. And what essential skills should teen develop today to be globally career ready by 2030? What do you think? Like when we were teenagers, there were certain different requirements of the skill. And in today's 21st century, there are certain different skills that are required to develop the students globally and make them career ready by 2030. So what do you think? What are the essential skills?
Collaborative and soft skill.
Digital skill. Yeah,
From
of course,
Sujata ma'am.
creative thinking. Yeah, that is also very important. Consistent efforts in right manner. Yeah, a proper direction and the right direction is very, very important. Then again, communication. Yeah, communication is also quite important. Communication skills are very important in today's 21st century skills. And also, it is very important to make the students career ready by 2030. So we have critical thinking, we have problem solving. Then again, we have digital literacy like AI, coding, data handling, adaptability and resilience. Again, cross-cultural awareness. Then we are having emotional intelligence and empathy. Then we have collaboration and communication skills. And we have entrepreneurial thinking. Again, I think we have certain answers in the chat box. Sujata ma'am has written leadership skills to become proactive. Very well said, ma'am. Rupal ma'am has written soft skill, digital skills, critical thinking, communication skills, creative thinking, and AI. Yeah, very well said, ma'am. Again, we have an answer, digital and communication skills. Yeah, very well said. So now before we proceed further, let us understand the OECD. OECD is an organization for economic cooperation and development. So it is the global education partner. So let us talk about the global mission. It was founded in 1961 and OECD builds better policies for better lives. It works across education, economy, health and governance sectors worldwide. There are 38 member nations till date in OECD. And these nations are high-income democracies committed to market economies. The headquarter is in Paris, which is driving international cooperation and development. Now let us see about India's partnership. So India is a key partner country who is participating in PISA assessments and engages in policy, research, and education development initiatives. So OECD member countries and India's strategic role. So OECD members, like talking about the few countries who are the members of OECD, like United States, France, Japan, Germany, South Korea. They are among the leading nations in OECD, then United Kingdom, Canada, Sweden, Italy, and so on. And when we talk about India's position, so India is not a formal member, but a crucial key partner, participates in PISA and education dialogues, also shapes global educational strategies through collaborative OECD initiatives and policy research. And talking about PISA, PISA stands for Program for International Student Assessment, and it is a worldwide study conducted by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development that measures 15-year-old students' ability to use their reading, mathematics, and science knowledge and skills to meet real-life changes. So when we talk about teenagers' career aspirations versus the labor market, what are the needs of the market and what are the aspirations about the teenagers? So when we the first point I would like to talk about is the encouraging trend. So student educational ambitions have risen in the last 20 years. For example, most students now aim to pursue higher education and professional careers. Then it reflects the positive efforts from teachers, schools, government employers, and charities. For example, initiatives like Girls Who Code, National Skill Building Program. These are the certain initiatives. Then again, a cause for acknowledgement and celebration. For example, recognition ceremonies and scholarship growth reflect this positive trend. There are certain ongoing concerns regarding the career aspirations. So the first concern is the socio-economic background. That again, academic ability in shaping the ambition. For example, students from lower income backgrounds are less likely to aim for STEM despite their strong performance. So in India, what we can see is though the student is talented, the student is getting very less chances to go for the top career choices. Okay, due to the low income background. Again, career expectations unchanged since 2000, which is a mismatch with the labor market. For example, over focus on becoming doctors or engineers. Like earlier we spoke about when we were teenagers, doctors, engineers, and teachers, these were the careers that were in boon at that time. So since then till 2000, it has not changed and it is getting mismatched with the labor market. And now the demand is for AI, logistics, healthcare, and support, such kind of career choices. Again, aspirations focus on a few high status jobs, like many are still unrealistic. Like I would like to give you an example, like high aspirations to be celebrities, influencers, or athletics with limited awareness of other professions. So Like the teenagers today are getting influenced by such kind of career choices, and they are not having awareness of other professions. Again, there is anxiety and uncertainty about career readiness, like students are unsure about which subjects lead to which career. So we need to give knowledge to the students right from the school regarding which subjects they should choose. Again, interest in skills, shortage sectors remain low. Like for example, few students show interest in construction, manufacturing, or skilled trades. So that is the students show less interest in such kind of career choices. Again, there is lack of career development opportunities and exposure to workplaces, like limited school trips, job shadowing, or industry talks in rural or under-resourced schools. So such kind of things are very minimum, and very rarely this is happening in the school. So students are not aware, like after choosing certain kind of career, what exactly they would have to do, what exact work profile is expected in that career choice. So students get confused and they do not have knowledge regarding that. So talking about what role can schools play. So before I proceed, I would like you to answer, like, what do you feel as educators, what you can do or what schools can do to overcome these drawbacks? You can raise your hand and answer. What do you think? What schools or educators can do to overcome such kind of difficulties that the students are facing regarding the career choices? Sujata ma'am has raised hand. Yes, Sujata ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening. Actually, in the schools, the teachers and the educators, we might not be aware of the career choices which is available globally. So we need to collaborate with the organizations who are doing the career program. That would be helpful for the students to choose their careers. Thank you.
Very well said, ma'am. Very well said. Anyone else would like to share their thoughts regarding this? What role can schools or educators play to overcome such kind of difficulties? Okay. So the first thing I would like to share is career guidance from early grades. So as schools and educators, what we can do is we can have structured career guidance sessions from grade 5 onwards. And as also as a part of NEP, government has also, CBSE has also introduced vocational and skill courses since grade 6 onwards, right? So from grade 5 only we can start preparing the students from grade 5 to 6, and we can give them guidance about the structured career sessions. Also, with the help of vocational and skill based subjects, we can give them hands on training for that. Again, regular industry exposure. We can organize workplace visits, industry talks, and job fair for the students so that they will know like what work exactly is done in which career. Again, we can encourage diverse aspirations. For example, we can highlight the careers that are in demand, and we can promote underrepresented fields. Again, we can bridge academic subjects with real jobs. For example, we can show how math links to the architecture or data science. Even students have confusion in their mind, like why I should study maths, why I should study science, why I should study social science. So if the subject teachers are correlating that, okay, after doing maths, you can be an architect, and where exactly he can use the math skills. After doing maths, you can go for like, say, suppose an economist, then where he can use the skills in that way. Or he can become a chartered accountant with commerce, something like that. If the teachers are only correlating and giving different career choices which are linked to that subject, then the students can also decide, okay, I'm good in maths, or I have interest in science, or I have interest in social science, and accordingly they can develop their mindset. Then again, we can have personalized career pathways. For example, we can use tools and counselors to support the student interest and strengths. Then about bridging the gap, so let us talk about youth career aspirations versus labor market reality. Now let us talk about the problem. So there is a mismatch between student aspirations and real job market demand. Again, there is rising need, that is not in education, employment, or training rates. Again, the information is overloaded, complex job titles, career confusion, all these problems are being faced by the students. The narrow focus on traditional roles despite evolving opportunities. This is also happening these days. So, what solution we can provide? Then we can have stronger employment engagement. We can connect the students with professionals to broaden their career awareness. Like as we spoke about organizing certain field trips or organizing certain visit to some companies or industries so that the students can connect with the professionals and they can get awareness about that career. Then we can have in-school talks, or we can have virtual sessions, or we can have real life interactions. Again, inspiring the future platform, like easy for schools to find out the volunteers. For example, we are having Amazon career tools, Amazon career tours, tech insights via virtual experiences. So even Amazon has started providing certain career tours where the students can get insights and virtual experiences about what work they would be doing in which career choice. And when we think like why do these things matters, so the thing is like we empower, these things will empower the student with real world insight. Again, it will help the employers to build future talent pipelines, again promote the economic growth and reduce youth unemployment. So what is happening today is, though the teenagers and though the students are taking higher education, yet they are unemployed. So the major reason for being unemployed is like they are not having proper skill, or maybe they might be having some delusion about like, okay, I thought by taking maths I would be comfortable in doing this, but the real scenario is quite different. And then he thinks that, oh, I should have not taken maths, I should have gone for biology, or I should have gone for social studies. So such kind of confusions are there even after taking higher education. So, talking about the action point is, if every employer volunteers just 1 hour per year, we can transform young lives. So, what schools can do is we can collaborate with the employers and we can ask them to come and volunteer to give knowledge to our students in school. So, when we talk about global teenage career preparation, PISA has given 8 key insights. They are called as the critical challenges that have been identified by PISA. So the first challenge that they are talking about is rising uncertainty. So more teens lack clear career plans, and which is leading to poor job outcomes. So what is happening? Students and teenagers are not having clear plans about their career, and this is leading to poor job outcomes. Means they are not well prepared, they are not having the mindset of where to work. And what is happening? Okay, wherever whatever job I am getting, I am ready to do. Today a very poor condition of the engineers also. Like you can see that engineers are jobless. Actually, why they are jobless? Because they are not having mindset and they are not having enough skills. And we can see that then they are going to they are switching on their career choices after even taking higher education, after doing graduation and post graduation. They are again switching their jobs. Then pathway confusion, disadvantaged students especially, they are unclear on steps to reach their goals. Like previously we spoke about the students who are not economically so well off, so they are not getting chances for top career choices. Again, so they are unclear on what steps to follow so that they can reach their goals. Again, low participation, only few students engage in impactful career development activities. Then stalled gender progress, so minimal change in gender interest and in underrepresented fields. So like they have developed a stereotype, like okay, if it is civil engineering, mechanical engineering, then only boys can do. If it is coding or something, then how the girls will do such kind of job. Like nursing, only girls can be a nurse. And when we think about a male to be a nurse, then due to this stereotype, even the students, like they feel shy. Like, okay, most of the ladies are in this field, then why I should go for such kind? Even if though they would be having interest, then due to this stereotype that the society has developed, the students get confused. Then we have narrow aspirations, like focuses on limited high status jobs like doctors and engineers. The society assumes that these are the high status jobs, and when we see about the parents, they feel, yes, my child should be a doctor, my child should be an engineer, and they are just competing in NEET and JEE examinations. And we can see there is so much tough competition in such kind of competitive examinations, and when they feel that, okay, if I'm not getting a chance in the medical, then I'll think about something other. So this is the status of today's generation, right? Again, it is mismatched with actual job market needs. So students don't know that actually what is the need in the market and what I have to do. Again, there is social inequity. Family background outweighs academic ability in shaping the university plans. Then again, unequal access. Advantage students receive more guidance than those who need it most. So even when we see that if the students want to go to some other countries for higher education, those who are economically well off, only such kind of students are going. Even among those, though they are talented, though they are not talented, but they are getting the privilege to gain education over there. And even if some students are economically not so good, but they are talented, but they are not getting chance to go for higher education in some international universities. Then we have lack of preparation. So many teens feel that schools are not helping them to plan for the future. So what is the conclusion given by PISA is there is an urgent need to bridge the gap between aspiration and opportunity through equitable, targeted, and early career guidance. Then again, as per the PISA report of 2022, are 15-year-old ready for the future? So certain key insights they have given across the OECD countries. So the first key insight that was given in this report was 39% of students are unclear about their career expectations. Again, they have told that 21% show misaligned goals. They want jobs needing a degree, but they don't plan to complete that degree. Again, we all know that this is the truth, what is going on in the country. Like forged degrees are there. They need a degree, but they are not eligible to study for that. So they are like seeking certain job profiles, and then they are getting forged out degrees and all. They don't want to complete it. Then 33% say that school has not taught them anything that is useful for the job. Then again, the second point that was concluded by this report was limited exposure to career preparation activities. So only 35% have attended a job fair. Again, the next point was just 45% have participated in a workplace visit or job shadowing. Then the next one was only 35% have completed an internship. And the conclusion that was given by this report was too many students at 15 are poorly equipped for the next steps. And there is a critical need to strengthen career readiness programs in the schools. And then there were certain career support gaps which were revealed by PISA 2022 report. The key finding was the students in greatest need received the least support. For example, a student from low-income family with excellent grade receives little or no guidance about higher education, while a wealthier student gets personalized advice, though the student is not talented. So this is the reality that is happening, and we all might have seen these such kind of scenarios. Again, disadvantaged students are more likely to have career misaligned goals. For example, a student who aspires to be a doctor but does not know that they need to study biology and chemistry. So this is the misaligned goals that they are having. Again, less likely to expect tertiary education completion even when academically capable. For example, a student who scores well in all subjects assumes that college is out of reach due to financial assumptions. So this is the reality. Again, there is career misalignment statistics. 1 in 3 disadvantaged students are misaligned in their careers versus actual opportunity, and 1 in 10 for the privileged students. Again, there is less engaged in career guidance activities. For example, very few students attend career fair or mock interview sessions. Then girls, a very big gap is there for the girls. They participate less in career activities that are involving the real world exposure. For example, fewer girls report the shadowing professionals or visiting the STEM workplaces as compared to the boys. Again, due to the stereotype, they have the parents and the students and the society is having such kind of mindset. Then implication is these gaps often lead to poor employment outcomes, low wages, and again missed potential. So what is happening, though the student or though the teenager is having the potential, due to some or the other reason he is in the wrong place or he has the wrong career choice. Then when we talk about social background and the academic ability, so social class is playing a stronger role in education ambition than the grades. For example, a brilliant student from a farming family cannot pursue engineering due to the lack of exposure or due to the lack of income, or sorry, due to the lack of, like he is not able to pay the fees. So though he is talented, though he is brilliant, he is not able to pursue engineering, he is not able to pursue medical. So when we talk about the young adult feedback from ages 19 to 26, so certain surveys in Spain, UK and US have indicated that those who received career development found it useful. For example, a student who attended a university open day became the first in their family to pursue a degree. And then many missed out, especially in underfunded or rural schools. So what do you think? What careers were popular or considered? Anyone would like to answer this question? You can raise your hands. What careers were popular and considered safe when you were a teenager, and how they have evolved today? Like previously, we have discussed that doctor, engineer, and teacher, these were very safe. But how have they evolved in today's generation? You can even post your answers in the chat box.
Again, Sujata ma'am is here. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Yeah, actually now I am 56. When I was a teenager, only teaching job was a safe job. It was considered by my parent. I joined in B.Ed and I worked as a teacher. Now I evolved a lot and I became a senior principal. Now I'm seeing a lot of changes between the transformative changes with the teachers, those who are working nowadays, because exposure is much and more, and they are having a lot of digital and tech advanced technologies, and they are very much upgraded, and at the same time it's a very safe place. The school is a very safe place where they are getting such a kind of environment with a positive culture. So always I believe teaching is evolving throughout the generations, decade after decade, with the upgradation, and there are a lot of online options, and there are so many job opportunities in and outside the school, I believe. Thank you.
Very well said, ma'am. Anyone else would like to answer this question?
Malaika ma'am is saying, or even a government job also, ma'am.
Yeah, government job. Yeah, teaching
Job.
is safe or even a
Safe
government
job,
job.
yeah.
Yeah. Even we have got that banking is as well. It is a safe job that was considered. So would you like to throw some light on it, ma'am, that how banking job has evolved in today's generation and how it was previously?
Miss Anne Mary, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, Elizabeth ma'am has told a teaching field because there were vacation and holidays. Teacher is a noble profession. Smita ma'am has told, yeah, very well said, ma'am. So today also, I think teaching is considered as a noble profession and most of people are going for this profession. Rita ma'am has told about information technology. Okay, very well said, ma'am. Now talking about what role can schools play and what we as educators can do. So the very first thing is early and inclusive career guidance. For example, we can introduce career talks and aptitude assessments by grade 6. So as the students reach grade 6, we can have career talks like, for example, in special assembly, we can have, or on occasions like Doctor's Day, maybe different days and celebration we are having, we can call the experts and we can have talk regarding that. And we can also have aptitude assessment, and we have very powerful tools to even conduct the online assessments today. So immediately the students can get to see the result also. Then the next point is bridging exposure gaps. Like for example, partner with local businesses or internships and mentorship, especially targeting girls and the disadvantaged students. So schools can develop or build a partnership with certain local business or internships and mentorship, and students can get an opportunity for an internship at such kind of places. Again, raise aspirations across all the groups. So we can host alumni panels featuring diverse success stories. So if the schools are having their alumni and they are, you can call the panels say monthly or within 15 days, and you can have their success stories so that the students will also get to know like what career choices they should choose. Again, train all educators to support career learning. This is very, very important. All educators should be well trained so that they can support the students to choose the career options properly. For example, science teachers can highlight real world applications and job pathways through their lessons. That is very, very important. So each topic or each lesson that we are completing, we can associate it with the career choices so that the even students can have at least the thought process and they can think where they are interested or what would be suitable for them. Then what steps can schools take to overcome these gaps? So we can develop a whole school career strategy. For example, we can include career planning in school improvement plans. For example, every grade level has at least one career activity in each term. We can have such kind of plans. Then we can involve parents and communities. We can educate families about modern career paths and support systems. For example, we can host bilingual career nights, or we can even invite parents from various professions to talk about it. Then we can create role models and mentorship opportunities. We can match the students with the professionals based on the interest. For example, the girls who are interested in IT can be paired with female tech mentors, so they can assume themselves in such kind of role, whether I'm fitting in such kind of role or I'm not fitting in such kind of role, and they are mentally prepared for it. Then we can ensure equitable access to career services, like we can track the participation data to ensure inclusivity. For example, we can monitor and follow up with the students who have not attended the guidance sessions, like why they were unable to attend, like why are they interested, are they not interested. So we can have regular follow-up session with the students. Then we can leverage technology and online platforms. We can use the tools like My Future, Unifrog, or India's Diksha portal we have for the career exploration. Again, sharing an example, like we can assign the students online career quizzes with follow-up and counseling. Then evaluate and improve regularly. So we can collect the feedback from the students and the alumni. For example, we can run end of the year survey and adjust our program accordingly. Anyone else would like to share their ideas? Like what steps can schools take to overcome these gaps? You can raise your hands and answer, or you can post your answers in the chat box. What steps can schools take to overcome the career gaps? You can post your answers in the chat box or you can raise your hands. Career, Malaika ma'am has told career fair. Yes, we can even organize career fair. A very good idea, ma'am. Anyone else would like to share their thoughts? Binita ma'am has told tours to the firms and industries. Yeah, that would be very, very helpful for the students.
Miss
Field
Sujata is
Rupali
visits
here.
we can
ma'am is saying
organize.
field visit,
Miss
field trips,
Sujata, Miss
industrial
Sujata
visit.
is there, or she has raised their hand. She has raised her hand.
Yeah, Sujata ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am, please
actually, I
unmute.
feel that first we need to do a SWOT analysis to understand that what are the area of interest of the students. Through various clubs, we can introduce a lot of skill courses and vocational training. It is very mandatory to be given to the students, providing the chances to them to opt for the courses which they would like to do it. The basic level of training can be given in the schools, and internship can be arranged with having a tie-up with the organizations so that they can excel in one or the other fields. Now, AI is ruling the world. Definitely, coding has to be introduced in schools, at least from the middle school level, so that they will be given an exposure to lot of creative field in future. For example, designing, it is taking a part in a very crucial role over there, as well as if we see gaming. Um, App development, all those are the future careers which is very much interested to the student as well. So these kind of skill training is, this can be given during the school hours by incorporating that in the club to the students. That's very much useful, and we have training did it as a trial and it is working well. So this is the first step. And second one is, as you have told, that the career fair, according to the choices of the students in a micro level, if we do that, that would be very beneficial to them. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you, ma'am. We are having certain answers in the chat box as well. Elizabeth ma'am has told that each subject teacher can give the students an idea about the different opportunities in their own subject. Yes, very well said, ma'am. Try to develop an interest and tell students to think about their skill and aptitude, and then they can select the careers. Yeah, very well said. We can even go for that. Rupali ma'am has told internship in different industry, corporate areas. Okay. Malaika ma'am has told the data for career choices must be collected from class 7th, 6th or 7th onwards, and take the parents along with us for a focused career goal. Yeah, very, very important that is, because right from grade 6, we are also, as per CBSE, we are providing vocational skill-based training to the students. So they can start thinking about what career option they have to choose in the future. Then the essential role of employer engagement in career development. So there are certain key career activities that depend on the employers, like for example, job fairs, workplace visits, job shadowing, we have internships, we have career conversations, then CV workshops and interview practices, then career pathway programs. So these are the certain activities. Then effective guidance can give real interaction with the world of work. Then direct contact with the professional can inspire the ambition and direction. Again, it is critical for building career confidence and preparedness. And then when we talk about why employer engagement matters is, it will build social capital, like students can gain trusted real world insights. Students can know the real insight, like after choosing this career, what exactly it is to be done, what I would be doing in future if I am into this career. Again, it can help to challenge the stereotypes. For example, the gender roles in professions, as we talked earlier also regarding this, like it can enable students to see it to be it. And it can also foster valuable connections leading to mentorship and recommendation or job offers. Then there is an urgent call for investment in career development. So let us see, more young people are highly qualified and they stay in education longer, yet many struggle to find out the suitable jobs. And across OECD countries, students often remain in education until age 18, making crucial choices along the way. And when we look at the current system gaps, unemployed graduates coexist with widespread skill shortages. This indicates mismatched in guidance systems. So the graduates are unemployed and also there is a shortage of the skill in the market. So what is happening is the market need is different, and what schools and colleges are generating, the students, they are not having that skill that is required in the market. So they have to gel. The schools, the educational systems, and the employers need to gel together to know exactly what are the requirements in the market. Again, career guidance is often delayed until the end of schooling, and then it is too late for optimal impact. So what needs to change is start early. Like career development should begin in primary and lower secondary years, as we spoke about it, right from grade 5th, 6th, and 7th. Then there should be continuous engagement. Decisions about education and career, they require ongoing support and exposure. So this should be a continuous process. Again, there should be greater involvement of workplaces, like real world insights are essential for informed decision making. And the way forward, uh, over here, I would like to add on one more point is like greater involvement, real world insights are essential for informed decision making. So don't you think that there are so many teachers, so many students who are going for the teacher profession of teaching? Why do you think that this is happening? See, because we are going to school, we are going to colleges, and we are seeing the role of a teacher. And it comes to our mind or the mind of the students, okay, that this is a safe job and I should go for this. Why? Because we have seen this. So even if the student, we can give like a platform where the students can see other careers or other professions, they can go over there and see, and then they can see like, okay, if I'm going to become an IT engineer, what work I'm going to have. Okay, if I want to become a data analyst, what exactly I have to work. So even then students will start opting for such kind of career choices. And then schools must not leave the students blind to the real opportunities or pitfalls of the working world. And PISA 2022 is a wake-up call because it is offering a baseline to rethink and strengthen the career education. So this is an OECD dashboard on teenage career readiness. So they have career readiness, they have a dashboard for that. I'll just show you the live, like it shows certain, what it offers is enables easy comparison of student career expectations. Then there are certain key benefits, and there is a link. I think if we can just visit it live. Actually, the site is under construction, but what they have given is at this site, they have certain options for career readiness. And definitely in future, if the site is under working, then we will be able to see many options for careers. Then do students have clear career plans, and does it matter? So there is a rising uncertainty as per the OECD report that 39% of 15-year-old across the OECD countries are career uncertain. And career uncertainty has increased since 2018. And it has become, and the trend is seen since 2000. And again, why it matters is career uncertainty is linked to poor employment outcome, again, lower academic performance, reduced engagement in school. And then OECD review has shown that 15 out of 19 studies confirm negative long-term effect. So these effects are for long-term if it is not focused since the school time. Then benefits of clear career plans. Students with job goals at 15 are more likely to reach the similar careers. They show greater motivation and school engagement. Again, they begin exploring the job role, subjects, and skills at an earlier age. And how schools can help? The schools can encourage early career conversations, as we discussed. Again, we can offer workplace experiences like internship and job shadowing. Again, we can help to link subject choices to further career path. And we can ask the right questions like, what job do you see yourself at 30? So the students will start thinking for themselves. And when we talk about student aspirations versus reality, as per the PISA 2022 report, so certain key insights they have given is career expectations have changed very little since 2000 and preferences are highly concentrated. 50% of girls and 44% of boys aim for just 10 jobs. And as per 2000 report, 3 common jobs across the genders. Again, as per 2022, 5 common jobs. And when we look at the growing trend or the professional aspirations, 58% of the students aim for professional roles. And the top fields are science and engineering, healthcare, teaching, ICT, legal, social, and cultural professions. And this level has risen from 48% in 2000 to 59% in 2022 in 18 OECD countries. So there is misalignment with labor market. And why this misalignment matters so much? So when we talk about who expects the professional roles, so when we are talking about girls, 69% of the girls, then there are high performers, say about 73%. Then there are certain socially advantaged students, say about 72%. Then urban students, say about 64%. And when we talk about labor market mismatch, for example, in England, 3 times more students aim to be professionals than jobs are available. And there is oversupply. So there is a risk of underemployment. Then what schools can do? We can provide realistic labor market insight to the students. Again, we can promote vocational and diverse career paths. Again, we can begin early career education with evolving job trends. Then are the students on the right track? How we can we would be able to know that? And why career alignment is mattering so much? Because students with clear realistic paths can do better in future. Also, when we are talking about misalignment, then there will be a mismatch between career goals and expected education level. And certain common misalignment scenarios, suppose say planning to become a doctor, lawyer, or engineer, but not aiming for tertiary education from certain university or equivalent. Then certain alarming trends that have been observed in the PISA 2022 report is 1 in 5 students plan for professional jobs. They lack the education plan that is required. Then socially disadvantaged students are most affected among them. 34% of low students misaligned versus 11% of advantaged peers are there. And low academic performers also show alignment. So when we talk about closing the gap, what schools can do is, the good news, educational ambition is rising. So in 2003, it was 58%. And studies have shown that this percent has gone to 67% in 2022. They are now expecting to pursue higher education. So there is strong career engagement and there is low misalignment. And what schools can do is they can help students to understand the pathway, like what education each job requires. Focus on career awareness early before the upper secondary choices. Again, pay special attention to the disadvantaged groups. Like if they are economically disadvantaged, like what scholarships are available and how we can help them out. Then use career alignment test, which can match the student goal with realistic education plans. So when we talk about the final takeaway, it doesn't pay to be confused about how the education and the training system works. So when we talk about the aspiration gaps, about social background versus the ability. So there is an evidence from PISA that high performers from disadvantaged backgrounds are 22% less likely to plan for tertiary education. So low performers from wealthy families are more likely to plan for university than high performers from poor families. As I told you that even a student is rich but not talented, he is going for higher education. The student is poor and talented, not getting a chance to go for higher education. So a gap is generated over here. So what helps? Students who participate in career development activities will show high educational ambition, regardless of the background. Why? Because during the career guidance, we are going to give them proper knowledge about what would be the fees, what scholarships are available, how they, even the very important thing is how they can get educational loans and funds for education. That is also very important aspect of career guidance. And certain implication for educators is like academic talent is not enough. Like getting marks on the report card, that is not enough. To close the aspiration gaps, we must ensure that equitable access to guidance is there. We are giving early exposure to diverse career pathway, and even personalized support is very, very important, especially for the students who are disadvantaged. So as educators, we need to empower all the students, and we need to break the link between the background and the opportunity. So talking about effective career guidance, what would really work? Then certain activities that are linked to better job success is workplace visits or job shadowing. That is about say 45% is effective. Then job fairs, say 35%. Then we have internships and short placements, say 35%. So regarding internship, even in the vacations, we can plan for the internship of the students in our schools. Then career conversations or advising, say it is helpful. 55% it is helpful. Then career questionnaires are there. It is 64% helpful. Again, online career exploration. There are many tools that are available online. So it is 76% helpful. And when we look at the key insight, the very important thing is first-hand exposure to real world. That is very, very important, and that is really which is helpful for the students. Then again, thinking, experiencing, and planning. So it will help the schools for smooth transition from school to work. And when we talk about schools, we need to prioritize real world career development and not just academic counseling. And we need to combine offline experiences with quality digital tools for meaningful impact. Then certain activities that we can implement in schools is workplace visits or job shadowing. Like we can partner with local businesses, hospitals, IT firms, banks, manufacturing units, and we can organize half day or full day visit for the students so that they can observe the work of the professionals. Like for example, grade 9, 10 students can visit a local engineering firm to see the CAD design in action. And then students can shadow a doctor or a nurse at some nearby clinic or hospital for few hours. So it will be helpful for them. Again, job fairs, what we can do is we can organize an in-school career fair, inviting the professionals from diverse fields. We can include stalls, demos, and question answer counters. For example, we can invite a police officer, architect, software engineer, and fashion designer to speak about their roles. And we can also include alumni who can share their career journeys. Again, the third thing we can do is we can have internships or short work placements. Like what to do? We can collaborate with the NGOs, community centers, or local industries for short internships, say 1 or 2 weeks during the holidays and the vacations. For example, a grade 10 student interns at a local newspaper, assisting with basic editing or reporting. And then students can assist in library, in government offices, or bank for administrative exposure. So we can give such kind of activities for their portfolio or internal marks, and accordingly we can have a plan for them. So anyone would like to share some other activities that you are conducting or that you are planning to conduct in your schools? You can raise your hands or you can answer in chat box if you have some other ideas of how we can have career guidance in our school. then you can share it, some kind of activities that you have already implemented in your school or that you are planning to implement.
Yet to implement, so you can go ahead.
Okay. Then we have certain career conversations or advising, like what to do. We can appoint a career counselor or we can train teachers to hold one-on-one or group sessions. We can invite guest speakers monthly from different fields. For example, we can have career Fridays, where every Friday we are calling certain professionals like doctor, army officer, or artist who are sharing their day-to-day work. Or we can conduct aptitude assessment, which is followed by personalized counseling. Again, we can have certain career questionnaires. For example, Career Guide or CBSE Career Portal can help the students to assess their interests and aptitude. We can guide the students to create career portfolios. Again, students can complete a digital career quiz and write reflections in their career file. So schools can even conduct Know Your Career workshop with data from such kind of questionnaires. Even we are having online career explorations, like students can explore National Career Service Portal, Skill India, or Coursera Career Academy. They can attend webinars from companies like Google, Tata, or Byju's about the career pathways. So these are online tools that are very helpful. And when we talk about the equity gap in career guidance, so online career research, like for example, online post-secondary program search spoken to someone about a future job, and job fairs, job shadowing, career conversation. So when we talk about the economic, social, and cultural status, so those who are having low status, job fair, job shadowing, career conversations, conversations are lower. And certain exceptions in it are internships are very much more common for them. And students from disadvantaged backgrounds participate less in most career guidance activities than their privileged peers. Again, what schools can do to bridge this gap is we can ensure equitable access to all the students. We can prioritize outreach to disadvantaged students for career program. We can have special sessions like for the students who are economically backward, or they cannot afford the high fees to like complete their graduation, post-graduation for certain career choices. How we can help them? We can organize such kind of sessions for them and the parents as well. Then again, we can use data from career questionnaires to support and identify the students who need extra support. Again, we can have equity oriented strategies, like we can offer free transportation or job visits and fair. We can provide extra guidance sessions and monitor the students who are economically and socially weaker. We can again create peer mentor systems or buddy programs for career awareness. Again, digital tools are accessible to everyone. So we can conduct guided internet research session during school hours, and we can have multi-language career portals or regional resources so that it is inclusive for everyone. Then there are certain strategic careers. For example, sectors of strategic importance that are facing skill shortage, that is healthcare, information technology, skilled craft and trades, and teaching. So these are certain career sectors that are not having skilled people to get the employment over here. So we can offer hands-on to these the students who are interested in such kind of activities like healthcare, information technology, skilled crafts and trades, and teaching. Again, girls' interest in IT and trade has not improved since 2000, and boys' interest in healthcare and teaching remains consistently low. So as I told you, again, the stereotype that, okay, girls can be teachers, girls can be nurses, and then boys, like very less boys are there who go for nursing field and in healthcare sectors and even in the teaching field. So vocational education and training often is seen as a low status, but countries like Finland, Germany, and Switzerland, they show high achiever interest and when they are well designed. So we can even introduce the students to the vocational education and training and the skilled trades. So students from disadvantaged and low performing backgrounds can also go for such kind of courses. So when we talk about what schools and educators can do is, we can highlight some non-traditional role models like female engineers and male nurses. Then we can provide gender neutral career resources and posters. Again, we can use class discussions and assignments to challenge the career stereotypes, like why only girls can be nurse, why boys cannot be nurse. Such kind of group discussions we can have. Then we can ensure equal access to career fair, guest lectures, and workshops. So even we can make strategic careers more inclusive. We can break the gender stereotypes very, very early, and we can invite diverse professionals to career talks. We can use storytelling, we can use films, or we can use comics to show inclusive role models. Again, we can elevate the image of vocational education, training, and skilled trades. We can organize industrial visits and parent information sessions. We can recognize the student internships and vocational skills through awards or exhibitions. Again, we can bridge the equity gaps in exposure by prioritizing career counseling for underrepresented students. We can use the data to target the girls for STEM and boys for caregiving sectors. So we can bridge the equity gaps over here. Again, we can build inclusive education to work the pipelines. We can collaborate with the industries for mentorships. Again, we can encourage project-based learning, which are linked to real-world professions. Again, what schools can and educators can do is we can conduct interest-based career mapping from middle school onwards. And again, we can assign the student research project on lesser known strategic careers, like the career sectors which are very less known. We can assign certain research projects so that they are researching and they are getting knowledge about it. We can even train the teachers on inclusive guidance techniques. Again, we can set the school targets to improve the gender and social representation in career exposure activities. So again, the student concerns about career preparation as per the PISA 2022 report is like 47.3 students worry that they are not prepared for life after the school. 43.6% worry about financial constraints and then they limit their career choices. Then 24.2% feel that the school has been a waste of time. 32.6% feel that school hasn't taught some useful job skills. Again, 34% feel uninformed about post-school options. 49% say that school has done little to prepare them for adult life. Then 46.1% say that school hasn't built decision-making confidence. 41.5% do not feel well prepared for their future path. So all these concerns, we can focus on all these concerns and we can prepare a plan for our students in like as per whatever resources are available in our school. We can focus on these disadvantages and drawbacks and accordingly we can make a plan for the students. And then when we talk about building an inclusive and future ready workforce, so it should foster inclusion and promote vocational education and training. But why vocational education matters is because it addresses the skills that are required in the strategic fields like skilled trades, IT, and healthcare. And it can offer direct pathways to employment and even entrepreneurship. And what schools can do? Schools can organize vocational education training awareness campaign, for example, career day with local tradespeople like carpenter, electrician, mechanics, and where they can share their journey. Then even we can integrate the vocational courses to the success stories into the curriculum through posters, videos, or alumni talks. Again, we can collaborate with skill development institutes. For example, we can host Tinkercad or robotic workshops in partnership with certain local ITIs or polytechnics. Again, we can offer short-term skill-based electives, like for example, plumbing basics web development, digital marketing. Such kind of electives we can provide to the student. And the goal is that the student should know that vocational education is valuable and respected career choice. Again, we can empower through self-efficacy building, like decision-making simulations. We can have formats like Choose Your Path, interactive workshop with real-life job scenarios. Then again, we can have goal-setting session for the student. For example, we can have vision board activities like My Career Roadmap or certain worksheets and templates. Again, we can have real-world simulations, for example, mini business project, mock interviews, role play, customer service setups. Again, we can promote equity by identifying the student from disadvantaged background using surveys or the economically, social, and cultural student data. Again, providing mentorship and financial guidance to them, customizing career counseling based on academic and social emotional needs. So, if we are focusing on such kind of activities, then we can certainly we can reduce uncertainty, we can even raise the ambition among the students, and we can open multiple paths to the success of the students. So when we talk about the power of employer engagement in career development, so direct engagement with employer will give the student real world insights, because it is hard to replicate through classroom learning alone, and it can lead to better education, employment, and earning outcomes. Certain career activities with proven impact are career talks and job fair, again workplace visits and job shadowing, career pathway programs, application and interview workshops, then part-time jobs, internships, and volunteer work. So the students will become more confident, informed, and ambitious in career planning. So why employer engagement works is authentic learning. So student trust the real life experiences more than the textbook. If they are reading and learning from the textbook and the information, they will not gain much knowledge. But if they are having a real life experience, then they will be getting authentic learning, and they will get insights from people in work are like current, practical, and credible. Then again, we can get long term benefits, like it can build human capital, knowledge, skills, motivation. It can again enhance social capital like network, recommendation, jobs, and leads. Again, develop cultural capital like understanding professional norms. Then schools that actively involve the employers can equip the students for success in a competitive workforce. And even better, to school work transitions, we will be having the reduced risk of being not in education, employment, or training, and informed decisions and strategic investment in the education. So when we talk about why employers will benefit from working with school, so now when we are going to gel, the school is going to gel with the employers or the market requirement, then the benefit will be to both the sides. Like the schools will be generating skilled employees, and the employers will get the skilled people to work for them. So there will be a talent pipeline. So we will shape the future employees by sparking early interest in the industry. For example, pharma companies can host science career days, and they can attract the future researchers. Then again, we can have staff development. So employees grow by mentoring the students and leading the sessions. For example, HR managers can deliver mock interview workshops to improve the coaching skills. Again, we can have social impact. We can give back to the community while improving our brand image. For example, local banks mentoring underprivileged students can be a part of their CSR activities. Again, higher productivity. Students with early exposure and more, they will be more focused and successful. For example, teens who take part in the IT firm shadowing, they can thrive in tech careers. Then again, we can address the skill gaps. We can reach to underrepresented groups in sectors like technology, engineering, or skilled trades. For example, auto companies can engage girls in mechanical workshop, and they can close the gender gaps. Again, we can have effective engagement, which can include career talk, job fair, workplace visit, internships, and volunteer programs, where students can intern at local news channels or workplace visit like hospitals or sector-specific expo for grade 9 to 12 students. Now, when we talk about the challenge, so the very first challenge is aspirations have grown over the past 2 decades. Then again, the next challenge that we are facing is socio-economic factors. They are overriding the career choices. If the student is very good in studies, he is not having the finance. If the student is having finance, he is not so good in the studies. So these are the socio-economic factors. Again, little knowledge of alternative career options. Then again, over focus on few high status professions like doctors and engineers. So this has become a stereotype. Again, that doctor and engineer are high status professions. Again, there is anxiety because there is no clear career readiness. So the students and the parents, they become anxious. And when we talk about NEP 2020, NEP 2020 has given certain responses to career challenges, that is holistic and multidisciplinary learning. So we can just blend the subjects with skill development. Again, we have bagless days and internships where we can give hands-on exposures from grade 6 to 8 students. Then we have flexible curriculum. We can encourage exploration across various fields. Again, equity and inclusion. We can focus on rural and marginalized students as well. For example, a grade 7 student can intern with local carpenter under the NEP's bagless days and discover interest in design and architecture. Again, when we talk about CBSE Career Guidance Initiative, so CBSE is having CBSE Career Portal with UNICEF, where more than 560 career profiles, psychometric tools, local language access has been provided, and it helps the students to build the profiles and career roadmaps. Again, CBSE has provided skill subjects from grade 6. So there are courses in IT, marketing, agriculture, tourism, beauty, and wellness. Again, CBSE has provided tech integration like AI, coding, data science in curriculum to prepare for the future career. For example, if a student is interested in digital art, he can explore the career options like UX design or animation through the CBSE portal. And when we talk about the role of schools and educators, so the schools must develop a structured career development plan. Again, schools must facilitate regular career fairs and interaction with professionals. We should embed career educations in the subject. And as educators, we should act as career facilitators. We should guide the students based on the aptitude. Again, we should encourage realistic goal setting and exposure beyond the textbooks. Again, we should also support girls and underrepresented students with mentoring. For example, a teacher can invite an alumni who is a solar technician and to speak, showing alternate career paths. And talking about overcoming the barriers, so we can track the participation in career session across the demographics. Again, we can provide after school guidance for the students who are lacking support at home. Again, we can encourage the parents in career planning discussions. For example, a school can start weekend career club for the first generation learners to explore the jobs in their local economy. Again, we should empower all the students. The student should be informed, confident decision makers. Again, we should align aspirations with real opportunities. We should transition the students smoothly into higher education or work. For example, a student from low income background trains in a digital marketing through CBSE skill module and can start freelancing. So we can promote CBSE and NEP resources actively. Again, we can create career consciousness in our classroom. Again, we can provide equal opportunities for all. So let us bridge the gap together. Educators and schools together can form career confidence for every child. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can post the questions in the chat box, or you can share. If you have certain activities that you can organize to conduct the career readiness for the students, then you all can raise your hands and share the activities over here.
Yes, Binita ma'am, yeah.
Yes, hello, ma'am. Thank you for the information, nice information you have shared. I have one small doubt over, not exactly doubt, what we have noticed that the children have different passion to do, but the parents have their own expectation and they want the child to do something else. In that case, what can be done?
See, as ma'am, as we discussed that we can have career guidance for both the students and the parents. And we can bring the scenarios to the parent that interest of the student matters very much to choose the career path effectively. So accordingly, we can counsel the parents along with the students. Any other questions from anyone? Would you like to share certain activities that you are implemented for career guidance in your school? Then you can either share in the chat box or you can raise your hands and share with us.
Everything is clear, no problem. Okay, I think we can wind up, Miss Pooja. Please unmute and speak. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ms. Amra, for that enlightening and thought-provoking session on teens' career preparedness. Your beautiful presentation of the study report has made it abundantly clear that educators have to guide the teens with the job market trends update. Your guidance has empowered us with strategies that are both actionable and effective. Thank you for a deep learning of the state of global teenage career preparation. Sir, now can we go for questions and reflections?
There is no question. We have already asked them, so you can go ahead to the next part.
Okay, sir. Okay. Before we conclude, a gentle reminder, certificate link has been posted in the chat box. Please fill up the form to apply your certificate of participation after the session. As we draw this enriching session to a close, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Dr. Abdul Salam sir and Mr. Biju S. Pillai sir for their visionary leadership and continued inspiration. To Ms. Amra Ansari for a session filled with clarity, depth, practical knowledge. And to each one of you, our enthusiastic and curious participants, for your active engagement and dedication to growth. Your presence fuels our purpose, and we look forward to welcoming you again at our next event with yet another accomplished expert. Let us continue to walk the extra mile to nurture not just academics, but the whole child, because their future deserves nothing less. Thank you once again, each one of you. Stay inspired, stay impactful. Over to you, Salam sir.
Yes, Miss Amira, thank you so much. As usual, it was a Herculean task, which I requested you to take up. So what is appreciable is you are ready to take up any topic. So under the sun. So we have done a lot of sessions by Miss Amira, and it was the OECD report that requires some time to go through, understand, and reflect upon. And the beautiful part of the presentation was the alignment with the CBSE, NEP. And just like Ms. Pooja has said, the presentation has clarity, depth, and the practical knowledge and wisdom. So thank you so much for another enriching session. Ms. Pooja, you did a very good job. And thank you so much for your help in conducting this session in the desired way. Thank you so much, all the participants, for joining. We can very well understand that this topic is not the cup of tea for everyone. So they think like that, but as we have seen through the presentation, it is everybody's cup of tea. Everybody should be involved right from grade 5 or 6 in the proper, way that they get the knowledge. Students are exposed to the various skills and the various job market and all the automations that are taking place, and all the information should be brought to the student community, and also through collaboration with industries. In fact, CBSE has made it mandatory for principals and others to have an industry exposure. They should visit industries and bring the knowledge to the students, make collaboration with employers and industries, and so forth, so that they will get a very practical knowledge. So thank you once again, Ms. Amira, Ms. Pooja, and all the educators. Those who have joined must have got a very practical, knowledge about how to go forth and set career fair and collaborations. So thank you so much. Have a good night. Keep connected. Let's go extra mile to learn more. Thank you so much. Good night. Good night,
Thank you,
everybody.
sir. Good night. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, sir.